Tonight, the Saskatchewan government is creating new regulations it says will strengthen oversight of independent schools in the province. Also, while some people have a hard time finding a career, others simply know what's right. We meet a Regina woman who found her passion, identity, and community on stage. Plus, Saskatoon's SPCA's Office Cat program is changing corporate culture, one foster kitty cat at a time.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Thursday, March 9th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for watching. It's a story we've been following for several months. The Saskatchewan government is creating new regulations it says will strengthen oversight of independent schools in the province. The move comes after months after a class action lawsuit was launched by former students of Saskatoon's Christian Centre Academy. The students allege abuse by former staff at the school. Last August, Education Minister Dustin Duncan appointed 3 administrators to oversee 3 schools who had staff named in the lawsuit. He says the new regulations come after consulting with those administrators. They include changing how schools are structured and improving financial reporting.
Ideas around ensuring that there is a distinct legal entity that is running the school separate from the parent organization, as well with the school legal entity that the principal should not be a member of the board of directors. That's just good governance practices, as well as enhanced financial accountability and reporting that can be done with the ministry now that there will be a separate legal entity. So those are some of the things that came out through the discussions with the trustees and the ministry over the last number of months.
I need the minister to show us work. What led to it? I'd like to see any recommendations and reports created by the 3 administrators put in place of qualified independent schools to be made public so that we can see what led to these changes. These changes are long overdue, but we need to see the process that led to this.
The government says most of the changes will take effect by September. The rule requiring schools to register as a separate nonprofit will take effect in the fall of 2024. Organizations advocating for women and children fleeing domestic violence are applauding news the province plans to provide operational money for second-stage shelters. As we mentioned yesterday, Justice Minister Bronwyn Eyre made the announcement in question period. She didn't say how much money will be committed, just that more details are coming in the budget. Saskatchewan is one of 3 provinces that does not provide operational money for second-stage shelters, despite the highest rate of intimate partner violence in the country.
I think it will have a huge impact on our turnaway numbers in our shelter system. I think it will have a big impact on our capacity to keep families housed, which is such a huge piece of this. And I do think that this will impact our domestic violence rates in the province.
Second-stage shelters are secure, subsidized apartments where women and children can stay for up to 2 years. The shelters have high security, with social workers to provide counseling for complex issues like trauma, addiction, and poverty, and support for the women to become independent. The opposition is calling for the province to step in and help the University of Regina as it faces a budget crunch. The Faculty Association said last week it's preparing for potential layoffs in the fall. Today, the association's concerns were brought to the legislature. The NDP's critic for advanced education says it's clear the U of R needs more funding.
We have some conversations that bring that dialogue forward. Certainly, when the 4-year funding agreement was signed, inflation wasn't where it was, and so we know that that's posing some challenge to our post-secondary institutions.
The province says it wants a more complete understanding of the financial situation before it potentially steps in. An internal U of R document with preliminary estimates shows the university likely saw its deficit grow from $15.3 million to $19.6 million as of the start of this year. A final budget for the U of R won't be available until next month. In British Columbia, prescription birth control will be free starting April 1st. That province will cover the cost of oral pills, IUDs, injections, and the morning after pill. Advocates here are pushing for the same coverage.
For folks who don't have access to prescription plans, or who don't have full coverage on their prescription plans, birth control can be quite expensive. And so having that covered just takes that stress away from those who are seeking those kinds of support for reproductive health.
The opposition NDP says it would support paying for birth control if it was in power, but the Ministry of Health says right now it has no plans to change contraceptive coverage in Saskatchewan. An Indigenous lawyer, author, and academic is calling on Memorial University tonight to suspend and investigate its president. It comes in the wake of a CBC investigation into Vianne Timmons, her statements on her Indigenous heritage, and past membership in an unrecognized First Nation group. Timmons was president and vice chancellor of the University of Regina from 2008 until 2020. Ariana Kelland reports.
Inside Memorial University today was a regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Regents, the university's governing body. On the agenda, MUN's president Vianne Timmons. Mi'kmaq lawyer and academic Pam Palmater says their decision should be clear.
Once they knew that this was going to come out, far before the media said anything, they should have taken immediate action, made a statement to the Mi'kmaq community to say, listen, we, in a time of truth and reconciliation, we care about our relationships with the Mi'kmaq Nation. We care about undoing the harms of the past. We take identity appropriation very seriously. And because we have been made aware of those claims, we are going to suspend this president pending an investigation.
CBC News reported yesterday that for years, Timmons' past membership in the Brador Mi'kmaq First Nation appeared on her CV and in professional biographies online, even after she says she stopped being a member. The Brador band is not recognized by the Union of Nova Scotia Mi'kmaq or the federal government. And CBC research reviewed by genealogists showed her Mi'kmaq ancestry appears to date back to the 1600s. But Timmons says she has always made a clear distinction between her lineage and her identity.
I have never claimed Mi'kmaq identity, and I'm not going to. And I'm going to continue to be very clear that it is part of my ancestry.
I think most people in public understand when you assert a Mi'kmaq ancestry or heritage, you're asserting yourself as Mi'kmaq.
Timmons says she is honoring her father's wishes by acknowledging her ancestors.
Well, how can she honor an ancestor she doesn't know and never knew and has zero connection to? She doesn't have a connection to the Mi'kmaq Nation. She's not a part of it. How on earth is she going to honor that?
MUN's Office of Indigenous Affairs has issued a statement asking that the university community give them space to gather and discuss. In a brief statement, Board of Regents Chair Glenn Barnes said this is a significant and sensitive topic that requires due consideration. Barnes says the conversation must be guided by Indigenous voices. Ariana Kelland, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, it's the calm before the expected storm. Dry streets and sidewalks could look very different by this time on Saturday in Regina. That said, Saskatoon and areas north not getting the snowfall warnings that the rest of us in the south are. Yes, we are in for an interesting weather weekend in Saskatchewan. Ethan will have all your details in his forecast after the break. Stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you by It's March, It's Madness at Capital Ford Lincoln.
Welcome back. Our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, joins me now. And usually we'd start seeing some melting happening, but That seems pretty far away now.
Yeah, we have certainly been below seasonal these last few days, Sam, but when the warmer weather does come, there will be some runoff to keep an eye out for. The Water Security Agency of Saskatchewan released its spring runoff forecast today, and here's where things stand. Much of the south saw pretty dry fall and not a lot of snow, so runoff is expected to be below or well below normal, but a good chunk of central Saskatchewan and the southeast, including Regina, can expect above normal runoff. But despite this, no flooding is expected in waterways there. In the north, you're about average for runoff, except in an area from Buffalo Narrows to Key Lake to Stony Rapids, where it's expected to be below normal. Now, the forecast is as of March 1st, so things can change if we get more snowfall, and we could certainly use the snowfall in portions of southeastern Saskatchewan as we take a look at our drought map in southeastern regions of the province, where around southwestern regions, rather, around Swift Current and even up around Saskatoon and North Battleford, they are dealing with moderate to severe drought in that area of the province as of January 31st. Now, thankfully, there is a little bit of moisture on the way to help things a little bit in terms of drought. We have snowfall warnings now in place along the southern portion of the province from Swift Current eastward to Moose Jaw and Regina and over to Moosomin, Kipling, and down to Assiniboia, Gravelbourg as well. In the southeastern corner of the province, it's a blizzard warning for Weyburn, Estevan, Carlisle, Oxbow, and Carnduff. Now, here's where this system is developing. This is a low-pressure system coming off of an atmospheric river in Northern California. You've been hearing about the intense weather they've been seeing there. Up to 250 centimeters of snow in portions of the San Bernardino Mountains in Southern California. Now, we're not going to be getting that much snow here, but it is originating from that same system. As it moves on land, you see it changes over to snow very quickly. And again, as I mentioned yesterday, it's a clipper system, so it's going to move quick through our province. Coming in around the supper hour tomorrow night in southwestern portions, I think the heaviest of the snow likely early Saturday morning as you start your day. Again, really south-central, southeastern Saskatchewan seeing the biggest swath of that, and then quickly moving out as we get to Saturday around the dinner hour. I think it'll be moving out by then. In a 24-hour period, could be some pretty high snowfall amounts, especially along that southern border of the province. Could get close to 25 centimeters locally. Regina, we could pick up 10 to 15, but again, northward from there, not expecting very much. So Kindersley, Yorkton, Saskatoon, Prince Albert, only a few centimeters, maybe about 5 centimeters at most. But the blizzard conditions are coming in as a result of the winds picking up, and even tonight, in southwestern sections of the province, we could see gusts close to 40. And then that system shifting eastward through the day tomorrow afternoon, gusts between 50 and 60 in southeastern Saskatchewan and south central regions. And then again, gusts close to 70 in the southeast corner as we head through Saturday morning. And then they will quickly dissipate as that system starts to pull out. As a result of that, visibility likely going to drop on highways. Close to about a kilometer, maybe even less than that in some portions of the province through early Saturday. So if you have travel, especially Friday night into Saturday morning, I think you'd better stay at home because we could see close to zero visibility and maybe even some reductions in traffic on highways, maybe even some closed roads. For Regina, again, probably 10 to 15 centimeters, very windy Saturday, but after that, our situation improves very quickly. We will see sunshine for Sunday, Monday, and a warm-up as well, albeit once that warm-up comes, we will still be quite breezy with gusts up to 40 kilometers an hour. Saskatoon, again, I don't think we're looking for quite as much snowfall. Topping out around 5 centimeters probably. Bit of a cool down in the wake of that system Sunday, Monday, but then things rapidly improving. So just have to get through the weekend, Sam, and there is a treat in store for us next week.
Look, the weather Easter Bunny?
Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, call me what you want.
Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Most indoor rinks in Saskatoon, including Cosmo, will soon be empty. Public skating is done for most city rinks as of March 19th. Parent and taught skating wraps up sooner. ACT Arena will stay open for a couple weeks longer. That said, you can still rent ACT in the spring and summer. We'll be back after the break. For some people, choosing a career is a tough and daunting decision. For others, the choice is simple because it just feels right. For CBC's Creator Network, filmmaker Marzia Kamyebi Chambers introduces us to a Regina woman who has found her passion, identity, and community on stage.
Spring and winter. Goodbye, winter. Goodbye, boots. Goodbye, ski pants. Goodbye, forts. Goodbye, jackets. I'm glad it's not winter anymore. Hello, spring. Hello, flowers. hello puddles, hello sandals, hello shorts. I'm glad it's spring, not winter. The first paid opportunity I got, I was in grade 2 when I wrote it, and it got published, and I won $50 from there. For a second grader, that's big money. My name is Amanda Zelinsky, and I'm an autistic performer from the prairies. My family first learned of autism 4 months before I turned 3, but they were told that with the proper support, I could still lead a long, sustaining life, independently in everything.
There's more awareness about autism now. It makes it look like autism is becoming more common, but that's actually not the case. It's just becoming more known. We work with people in between the ages of 18 to 35, figuring out what they want to do with their lives. So that's where we come in, and we can help with employment services or maybe setting them up at school.
I definitely did have some rough patches when it came to trying to make friends. I've always wondered, how is this easy for everyone else? Is there a book somewhere? Is there a manual? Because socially, it seemed like I was always a step behind. So once upon a time, all of our Christmas concerts and our plays, they were mandatory, but I've always been happy to do it.
She's never had much for other interests. It took a while for me to recognize it. From the time she was very small, it wasn't even safe to stand between her and an empty stage.
They usually have really great memory, highly attentive to detail. They are the most dependable employees. Since they prefer their routines so strict and scheduled, always going to show up on time. They bring a unique perspective to things.
Autism's definitely given me a hard time with making friends back in the day, but with theater being a huge part of my upbringing, forged my identity and make even more friends later on in life.
She's happy now. She's got a social calendar that I can't keep up with. And both their dad and myself, we wanted to channel them to their own interests, not so much ours.
It's hard to categorize what type of jobs that autistic people would want because they have different preferences just like the rest of us, right?
Theater definitely did help me with my communication skills. Pretty much all of performance in general. Acting, singing, dancing, it all goes into one. It did get me scholarships to university and beyond.
I think parents should be delighted if their kids are interested in the arts, because it means their kids are legitimately curious about the world, really intelligent, and want their lives to be meaningful. Who doesn't want that for their kid?
With the theater that we have been doing in Listen to Dis, we have been approached saying that this definitely changed people's perspectives on how they view disability, whether it's neurodivergent or wheelchair using or anything of that kind.
And we started just by looking at what we call CRIP theater or disabled theater in globally in the world. They were still maybe aligned a little bit with somebody's doing me a favor if they let me come and work with them, as opposed to building the confidence to understand the talent and the skill that they had.
In Saskatchewan, with more acceptance of autism, not awareness, acceptance, that we can continue pushing the narrative forward.
I believe art to be one of the best and biggest equalizers that we have in the world.
We're all going to express ourselves somehow, and the sooner we can introduce art as a way for people to learn how to express themselves, that's potentially life-saving.
I mean, the whole gamut of things represented in art by people that actually have living experience of what that means, because otherwise we don't have a representation of the world.
To those of you that are neurodivergent or know someone who's neurodivergent, may I personally say that neurodivergence and the arts go hand in hand. There is so much neurodivergent art out there, and so much more is going to be created. Hope to see you as part of the narrative.
That video was done for the CBC Creator Network. If you have a story you'd like to tell, go to cbc.ca/Creator Network SK to find out how you can send us a pitch. And Ethan's back with one last look at weather. At least it's nice.
Yes, well, and it's going to turn a little not so great tomorrow, unfortunately. But tomorrow is a special day, Sam, because if you spell M-A-R, March 10, it spells Mario. So it is a happy Mario Day to all of you out there. 10 a.m. tomorrow in Regina, we're looking at -12, -7 by 2 p.m. And then the snow starts, but we will be warming up through the afternoon, getting to around -6. In Saskatoon, looking for -13 tomorrow at 10 a.m., warming up again. Probably stalling out a little bit as we head to around the 7 o'clock hour, around -8. But Saskatoon not expecting quite as much snow as Regina, Sam.
I'm going to go home and play Mario Kart.
I know. Doesn't it make you want to do it now?
Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Before we leave you tonight, do you ever wish you could bring your pet to the office? Well, you might not be able to bring your own cat, but maybe you could foster one. A new program through Saskatoon's SPCA is giving businesses a chance to have a furry support friend at the office temporarily.
I love cats.
What's that?
Oh, a cat! And they want to pet it. But of course the cat runs away. So an opportunity for the cats to get used to people before they're fostered out to their permanent homes, I guess. I'm allergic to them, but I take pills, and I have my own at home, so. Less office stress. Because it is calming when you see the cat, because right away you're, oh, kitty, kitty, and you want to pet it. So it takes your mind off of maybe something you're stuck on at that certain time, and then the cat walks by. Then you can refocus instead of being frustrated. No, it doesn't distract at all. Cats they only meow. But no, he doesn't distract us at all.
We here at the SPCA are always full on cats. We always have a ton of cats who need homes. Even when they're waiting for their forever homes, they go into foster care. We do have a lot of cats right now who have a URI, which is essentially just a kitty cold. So it's really beneficial for those cats to go out of the shelter where it's less stressful, and they can recover much faster in a less stressful area than the shelter. We supply all basic supplies for the cat, so anything from food to litter boxes, we provide all that. We also provide all medical care. We only ask that the office is available to have the space for the cat, so space for its food and water dish, its scratching post if it needs one, a litter box, toys, all that kinds of stuff. We also recommend that the cat has a small area to escape to if it ever feels overwhelmed.
A dog is a little different because you don't know how a dog's going to react to a human. Most cats are pretty tame. You'll know right away when a cat's not tame.
This is the time of year where we really start to see litters coming in, so we're kind of ramping up for this busy season here. So it's always helpful to have foster homes to send them out to in preparation to make sure that we have space for those incoming new cats.
I go to work every day. My cats are at home alone. They don't do nothing to the house, or they'll find somewhere to go sleep, eat, and do their business. And yeah, cats, you don't have to watch them like a dog.
So they usually are fine on their own for the evening. For weekends, we do recommend, if you're closed, we recommend someone coming in and visiting the cat on a regular basis throughout the weekend. Or if someone is willing, they can take the cat home with them.
Cats need people.
Well, that's cute. Office cats for everybody. That is it for us tonight. For News Anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to CBC Saskatchewan's YouTube channel. Dan Plaster and Ethan will be back with more local news tonight at 11. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.